On National World Food Day, various organizations joined forces in Washington, D.C. to bring awareness to the need for a larger production of organic foods that would lead to better nutrition and health and ultimately aid in the preservation of the planet.
And we need to come together, to join forces, put carbon back to the ground, harvest every drop of water to rebuild our water cycles, harvest every organic matter to grow food and feed ourselves. Happy World Food Day.
Though experts advocate for a larger production of organic products, they acknowledge that switching to an organic diet is not always the most affordable option. Organic foods can cost up to 3 times as much as regular foods in the U.S., which sometimes make it unattainable for the average citizen.
Today we are at a really interesting point. We have all the information that we need when it comes to what better nutrition is. The problem is that it's complicated and it doesn't feel accessible.
The preservation of the environment is also a major concern for advocates of this movement who feel not enough importance is given to the treatment of the soil utilized to grow these crops, a key factor in the preservation of the earth.
Simply using organic means does not mean that you are also building the tilth, building the humus, putting organic matter in the soil. The national organic standards in the United States are silent as to the return of organic matter to the soil. That is a massive failure of the National Organic Program.
Throughout the United States, marches will take place next week, demanding the production of organic foods and support for farm workers. Bianca Perez, teleSUR, Washington, D.C.
According to a multidimensional analysis on poverty in Honduras carried out by a young volunteers organization, Techo, currently 70% of the Honduran population lives in poverty due to the lack of opportunities and no access to land.
Poverty has to do especially with the lack of opportunities, not the lack of money. The people that live in those communities in where we work have a job. Every day they go out at 5 in the morning to 7 in the night. They spend their time looking, but because of this system of inequality and injustice that we live in Honduras, their work isn't paid as they should. They work for almost nothing.
In Honduras, currently 3.2 million citizens don't have enough food, but still there are many citizens in the middle class that aren't aware of the situation.
We are ignorant of what is going on with poverty, and when we have the opportunity to live in these communities, you can realize that poverty is a very strong thing, and if we can't erase it, we should at least do something. No matter how small it is, we can achieve important things. As young people, we have to put all our energy to help our country.
The study analyzed the situation of the country's poorest communities, and the common factor in these communities is that the residents don't have access to education, to a well-paying job, or don't have access to the land to work in agriculture. They have very low opportunities, which ends up in poverty. With this investigation, these young volunteers are looking to increase the awareness on the population of the very difficult situation that the majority of the Hondurans live. Gerardo Torres, teleSUR, Central America.
Next week, the German anti-Islamist movement Pegida will turn 1 year old. The group, which stands for Patriotic Europeans Against the Islamization of the Occident, started as a xenophobic Facebook group founded by Lutz Bachmann as a response to Germany's record influx of refugees and migrants. The group has, since October 2014, rallied thousands of anti-Islam demonstrators to vent their anger at what they see as German Chancellor Angela Merkel's open-door policies to refugees.
Wie sich Pegida weiterentwickelt, ist schwer abzuschätzen. Sollte es der deutschen Politik gelingen, unsere Einwanderungs- und Integrationsprobleme glaubhaft in den Griff zu bekommen, dann entfällt
their passive stance on this, and we clearly have had big problems here since last autumn. It will go on as immigration continues. The more obvious integration problems become, the more fodder there will be for Pegida and similar movements. We have reached an impasse and it won't get out of it very quickly.
The UN Refugee Agency, UNHCR, said on Saturday migrants in Serbia will be stuck and without access to basic protection if Croatia closes its border with Serbia, and that more needed to be done to ease the pain of refugees. Some 2,000 migrants in more than 40 buses were at Serbia's border with Croatia throughout the night and into Saturday, as Croatian police controlled their entry after Hungary closed its border. The move comes a month after Hungary's right-wing government shut its frontier with Serbia to hundreds of thousands of migrants, many of them refugees from war in Syria, streaming across the Balkan Peninsula from conflict and poverty in the Middle East, Africa and Asia. Hungary has erected a steel fence almost the length of its southern frontier, declaring it has to secure the borders to the European Union from mainly Muslim migrants, who it says,
"This is the situation. As you can see, our partners, other organizations are working really hard to ease up the pain of the refugees who are coming from really long distances, exhausted and tired and still waiting for hours and hours. Some of the buses have been waiting overnight, and I think these people are in need of help."
Dozens of people marched through the streets of the West Bank city of Hebron on Saturday for the funeral of a Palestinian man who was shot dead after posing as journalist and stabbing an Israeli soldier. In Hebron, during clashes that erupted in the city on Friday, while a day of rage called for by the Hamas movement. 3 Palestinians were shot dead on Saturday by Israeli forces. A Palestinian witness of one incident said it was a result of Jewish settler violence, as tensions ran high after more than 2 weeks of unrest. At least 40 Palestinians and 7 Israelis have died in the violence, which was in part triggered by Palestinians' anger over what they see as increased Jewish encroachment on Jerusalem's Al-Mosque compound.
Facts that have marked the course of history. Productions designed in the English language and made for the English-speaking world. This is Documentary. Watch it on telesur.net/English. teleSUR, wherever the news, you'll be there.